Time to add more than just routes. Here with the error, we already have a great first place of adding our own data model. Now we could also add a place and a user model, but I'll stick to my dummy inline object literal data for now, because we'll add real models later when we work with the database. For the error, however, we'll not replace it later, so we can already implement a proper model for it now. A model basically is a blueprint, the definition of a data object we work with. And therefore I'll add a new models folder here, and in there I'll add a error, or to be precise, http-error.js file. In that file, I'll create a new JavaScript class. The class keyword is available in modern JavaScript. No extra build tools or compilers are required. And I'll name this class http-error. Now, in case you're not aware, a class is essentially a blueprint for a JavaScript object. And you can learn more about that in my JavaScript complete guide, for example, or of course also in other JavaScript resources. I expect that this is something you know or you're looking up whilst you're taking this course, because it is some basic JavaScript concept. Now this class will extend, with the extends keyword, the built-in error, which means it's based on the built-in error, but we can tweak it to look and work the way we want it to look and work. Specifically, I'll add this special constructor method, which we can add to any class. This allows us to write some logic that runs whenever we instantiate this class and create a new object based on it. And in this constructor, I expect to get a message as an argument and an error code. And then in here, we call super to call the constructor of the base class, so of the error class here, and forward the message to it. This will already add a message property to the instances we create based on this class here. And I will also add another property, the code property, which is set equal to error code. And you add a property with the help of the this keyword here. So this adds a code property to instances based on this class. Now we have to export this class with module exports so that we can use it outside of this file as well. And with it exported, we can go back to the places routes and there simply import it. So here I'll import my HTTP error by calling require ... which means go up one level out of the routes folder, back into the root folder, then go into the models folder, and then there HTTP error without the file extension. That's where we get this HTTP error class I'm interested in. You could name this however you want, by the way. Convention just is to name these classes, which essentially are constructor functions, therefore, with a capital starting character. So I'm doing that here as well. And now I'm doing this because now we can shorten this a bit. We can create a new HTTP error here, which gets a message and then gets our code like this, so that we can get rid of this line here, and we can also get rid of this first line and just throw this error, which we create on the fly, which is definitely a bit shorter. And here we can do something similar. We can create a new HTTP error, pass in this message here, and set the 404 status code and get rid of these two lines. And now this is really a shorter way of doing that. And if we now give it a try, you see this still works as before. We're able to find places that exist, and we get back the proper error response for places that do not exist. And with that, we added nice error handling. It was important to me to do that early so that we have it in place before we write too much other code, which also needs it. But with that, I would say we also can go back to our actual routes which we need and the logic we want to run there, and make sure that we also add more of the routes we specified here on this slide, because thus far we only have these first two get routes. Now that's of course not all. We need the post, patch, and delete route as well for our places, and then of course we also want to add some users routes, because there we haven't added anything at the moment.